How's it going, guys? Cracked Rack here. Feeling absolutely wonderful, here to tell you the story of the time that I was an Object Show community YouTuber. Now, it feels pretty surreal to me that at one point in time I was making Object Show YouTube videos. Nowadays, I feel like if I made an Object Show YouTube video, I'd be under a federal investigation. So basically, long story short, I used to be best friends with an Object Show creator, unfortunately, and his name was Alchemist Area. I also had a whole friend group of Object Show people. We'd be like, oh yes, we just created our new show, Battle for Battling Battles. It was, and I hate to say such a derogatory word, it was gay. Pretty much, if you don't know what an Object Show is, it is a type of web animation created by primarily 15-year-olds, though some weird 25-year-olds. There are some 25-year-olds that are like, hey, I just made an Object Show. But for the most part, a lot of them are like 15, 16, and it's this dumb, sorry, I don't mean to call it dumb. Let's be more respectful. It's this strange community where they take Object Show drawings, which means they take objects and they make pretty meh vectors of them. So they'll take, like, say, a knife or a button, and then they'll make like this vector, and then they'll add these eyeball and mouth animation assets to it, and pretty much just use Flash, and they'll just wing it. They'll just create their own show. Most of it's inspired by like Total Drama Island. Well, considering I grew up in this community, well, quote unquote grew up, I took advantage of the community, and I wanted to be a video creator. I wanted to be somebody, but I didn't have anything to work with except for Object Shows. So I believe that nobody would like my videos because who the hell wants to hear about Object Shows from a kid? Because I was like 15 at the time. So I started testing out my Sony Vegas skills, and I practiced Sony Vegas all day, every day. It was all I did. I would put together these little reels of these pretty meh skits, and I would make reviews of Object Shows. Kind of like how the Angry Video Game Nerd makes video game reviews, except I would put that into Object Shows. And of course, because I was a teenager, and my family, my at the time family, my ex-family, thank God, would censor everything, so I had to make it squeaky clean. So instead of being like, man, this is a shitload of fuck, like Angry Video Game Nerd would do, I'd have to be like, man, this sucks! Pretty much the goal of the video, from my end, was to keep people's attention with me as like this character, this comedic character, while I did some very bare bones commentary about Object Shows. I'd be like, oh, this Object Show sucks, it has bad assets and it looks like shit. And then I would be like, ooh, here's a funny skit! And I just had this formula that was pretty much just an excuse for me to make skits while seeming like I was doing something important. Well, surprise, surprise, the video series actually took off. Well, took off for what a kid was doing. It was doing pretty well. Thousands and thousands of views. Because, I was making that algorithm-friendly stuff. I was like, oh, I don't swear, I don't do drugs, I don't mention anything sexual. The algorithm was like, yes, I'm stroking myself. I absolutely love children's content. And it gained an audience pretty quickly. In fact, it actually leaked into my high school life, and several girls that would have never talked to me beforehand were I know this sounds absolutely BS, were so impressed with my Object Show videos that had like maybe 2,000 views on a good day, that they actually talked to me and gave me attention. That's when I realized, wait a minute, if I just make children's content, I can have a disproportionate amount of power on the youth around me. Yeah! So I kept making these videos, even though I hated it. At the time, I thought I was going to be a famous rapper. I wanted to get in front of a mic and be like, yeah, you little bitch. Fuck you, asshole. Yeah, I'm the man. But I settled for this. And the kids in my school were obsessed. They were singing dumb little frickin' songs that I came up with in the video in the hallway. They were obsessed, and it was awesome, but it was also scary because I had a bunch of drama with my family who were being really fucking annoying about it and wouldn't shut the hell up and stop being weird and trying to control it. As time went on, I wasn't keeping people's attention as much as I was originally, so I had to make the videos just absolutely action-packed from the start. But it was such an Angry Video Game Nerd ripoff, which sometimes I have a habit of doing now on accident. I don't even mean to. It just comes out because I'm so used to it. But at the time, I'd be like, how am I going to get people to watch this video? So I'd start the video and I'd be like, ah, yeah, I hate these fucking Object Shows. And I just pretty much start punching my computer on screen, like, ah! Just punching it until it explodes. And the kids watching were just like, yes! Give us more object shows! And I just kept making them and making them and making them, and I loved every second of it, even though my stupid, bitch-ass, worthless family kept getting jealous. But yeah, I was doing pretty good. However, as time passed, I started to get a little too old. Eventually I got a car. I started, having an interest in true crime. And my interest in object shows stopped being cool. It stopped being like, cute. Like, oh, it's a kid making his web series. And it started to be creepy. Like, people started to be like, why is this guy making object show content of all things? Like, what would he possibly have interest in making videos for little kids? And they were kind of right. And it was just kind of feeling weird to make these videos. But people liked them, so I kept making them, even though I felt kind of like a pervert for doing it. Each video would start, I'd pretty much kind of be like, I'd be like, how's it going, guys? Today we're going to be discussing, except I had a really high-pitched voice. It sounded like this! I'd be like, we're going to be taking a look at Object Terror today! And then it would start, and the Object Terror guys would be like, oh, I'm so bored! And then I'd react by being like, oh, what a terrible show! Terrible writing, terrible graphics, terrible people behind it. And the kids would be like, And I think I had friends in the object show community at the time that were embarrassed of my behavior because they wanted to have like a good object show reputation and they couldn't because every time they'd be in the call, everyone would know what I did. They'd be like, oh, get him out of here. Oh, because you see, I couldn't just enjoy the object show community as it was. I did some messed up stuff. For example, I had a girlfriend when I was 15 years old, and the object show community people knew it. I would show her off, and then I would lie and claim that I was a 30-year-old man, not 15 like I really was. So everyone would believe that I was a 30-year-old man dating a 15-year-old girl. So everyone was just disgusted with me. They're like, oh, that's the creepy pervert. I'd be like, guys, come on. What's wrong with it? Age is just a number. Because I was just playing a character at that point. Though I don't really know why I did that to myself. It seems to have been a pretty bad choice. But at the time, things like pedophilia, I'm not going to say the whole thing, let's censor the E, the pedophilia, it wasn't really that big of a topic back then, so if you wanted to make a joke about it, it really wasn't that big of a deal. So yeah, that's the story of how I was an object show YouTuber. Eventually, I would say, around 17 years old, I completely aged out of it. I wanted nothing to do with it at all. I wanted to make adult videos. That sounds really bad. I wanted to make videos for grown adults. I wanted to make things that adults would look at. And I would say I've had one of the most radical audience shifts anyone's ever seen. You know why? My original audience was for, I think it was like 13. It starts at 13. It was like 13 to 18 or whatever. Like 70% was that. Now, as Cracked Rack, my audience demographic is like 35 plus minimum, which I don't even understand. But yeah, that's all for today. Thank you guys. See ya!